Long ago, when the world was bright and full of stories, an evil wizard gained the power to touch the face of God. Narrativa, goddess of stories and weaver of our world, banished him to the void, but not before he stole a piece of her divine essence. With this newfound power, the wizard lay a dread curse upon all the world, the Glyph Purge, which struck from the minds of all mortals the knowledge of how to read and write. Now, all that stand between the Isle of Meotia and an age of endless ignorance are the bards, who tell stories of distant lands, exotic creatures, and brave heroes. This is one such tale.
Hello and welcome to Challenge Rating Zero, the latest and greatest Dungeons & Dragons podcast to hit the internet airwaves. I am Sam, your Dungeon Master, and I am joined as always by my longtime friends and adventuring companions.
Hello, I'm Brian, and I play Hector the Gatekeeper.
Hi, I'm Beth, and I play Rilla Longshadow.
Hey there, I'm Alex, and I play Ruger Firehide.
And last but not least, we have the man who calls himself Michael, but who we call Parker. Michael Parker playing the druid Zurabak. Say hi, Parker.
Hi, Parker.
Fantastic. We are joined, if you can fucking believe it, once again, for a tale of epic fantasy.
For some reason, we just keep getting together.
Yeah, we just keep bumping into each other with all of our recording equipment on and connected to each other, which is convenient.
That's scheduled
for
weekly
the show.
times.
Yeah. I guess let's just get right into it because I have a lot of stuff to say to you today. So when last we left our heroes, Hektor, Rilla, Zurabak, and the lawman Ruger Firehide were making use of their downtime in the city of Everspring and locales far beyond. Ruger Firehide embraced his new profession as a member of the Honorable Order of the Knights of the Quill. He was led down to the vault by Captain Kurz to gaze upon his new charge, namely the countless written works, scrolls, books, parchments, tapestries held safe in the stone vault underneath Grotmire, where the Knights of the Quill safeguard every scrap of salvage written work for the day in which the glyphs return to the minds of mortals. While that was happening, Rilla Longshadow enrolled her kid sister Dara in school, and in doing so, was talked into teaching herself. Lore Master Holland, the Lore Master of the Arcane, agreed to take Dara under her wing and teach her the finer points of magic as long as Rilla Longshadow would share her expansive knowledge of transmutation with the student body at the College of Everspring. At the same time, Hector the Gatekeeper, Keeper of the Gates, spent some time with his faithful dog Book, who we all remember still exists and is alive and is happy in Everspring whenever we're not talking about him.
What a good boy.
He is such a good boy.
He's such a good boy. And he also reconnected with Moonbeam, the curator of the Hall of Whispers, who tasked him with being an assistant curator, which meant going out into the world and bringing back long-lost artifacts to fill out the ranks of items of interest inside the Hall of Whispers. Hector did go out, have a discussion with Pretty Polly and Mrs. Fisher out in the Ashen Isles and retrieved a notable artifact. And Zurabak went on a bit of a road trip. He went to the town of Bramble, deep in the heart of the Briar Marsh. He crafted himself some brand new armor with his Shape Wood spell out of the Bone White Wood that makes up that city, shoring up some of the exposed parts of the town he left behind with his crafty work. And then he went and checked in with his Druid Circle, the Circle of the Serpent, reconnecting with his boss, the Arch Druid known as Trapjaw, deep in the heart of the Serpent Circle's home base inside of a large ancient skeleton. And so, we continue our tale. We're going to start with our three protagonists who are in the city of Everspring. The rainbow city of a million colors, the singing city, the last vestige of civilization in all the Isle of Miosha. You three have been busy these past few days. You've been working at the vault. You've been organizing things at the Hall of Whispers. You've been desperately trying to teach just inherited magic to students. And you've been furthering your personal goals in town for quite a while.
Hector's been working with the drama club or whatever in order to perfect a good pirate voice for his magic mouth that he creates for the feather of Leopold Augustus Sea Strider.
That's absolutely fantastic. You get. Can I hear a little bit of what you've been working on?
Yar! Leopold Augustus Sea Strider once sailed the 7. I don't know how many seas there are in this world.
All the seas.
12 seas.
Sure, 12 is great. All 12 of them.
Something like that.
Well, it's good to know that all paid off. Just overwhelmingly well. And, it is in between your various chores and new honest-to-God professions that you all receive a summons. You've all taken a moment from your busy schedules to wind down and reconnect at your favorite watering hole, the Crooked Stool. The interior of this dive bar at a slight angle as it leans precariously into the waters of Lake Danum on its perch on the docks. And you all are just enjoying a beverage, winding down as the day comes to a close and night slowly crawls its way up the sheer walls of the Everspring Mountains and lays its hand over the city therein. What are you all drinking?
I'm waiting for Hector to lead the charge, because depending on how deep he goes in, I'm going to measure against that.
Rilla's having some honey tea with maybe a splash of rum? Something like that. Just a little. I'm still sick, so it's got to be mostly just tea.
What about
maybe
hot
just
toddy?
a token?
Ruger recommends Rilla drink a hot toddy.
Here we go.
She's not
Sure.
feeling well.
Let's do that.
Okay.
You are curled around a lovely hot toddy that is brewed with a special elven blend of herbal tea that is now available in Everspring because of the elven diaspora that came from the blighted Springvale Forest. So you got a little taste of home in a mug. It's warm and toasty. It warms up your insides. And you are recovering steadily from the horrific trial of dying and being brought back to life. Hector the Gatekeeper, what are you drinking?
I think Hector, just in the headspace that he's in right now, just immediately starts chatting up the bartender, asking about any sort of alcohol that's just got some history behind it. How did this aged scotch get here?
I made this in my bathtub 3 weeks ago.
The bartender informs you of this very small cask of what the trader told him was called dragon bile. It is basically a sort of moonshine that is brewed in the freeholds. In stills they have out just hidden in between settlements, and it is flavored lightly with herbs he can't describe, and it's got a spicy mint quality to it, and it is caustic booze. But it's been there for 3 years, and no one's ever had the nerve to drink it.
I will have one mug of dragon's bile. Yes.
Heat.
All right, Ruger, what are you having?
So Ruger, after talking to Rilla about drinks, realizes that he's hoarse after a long day of yelling at the lads in the yard at my so I'm doing a hot toddy as well. But I am also going to order a shot of whiskey, and I'm just going to let it sit It's just gonna sit there.
As you are all pleasantly curled around or barely able to stomach your drinks,
As soon as he gets back to the table, Hector retells the story that the bartender told him about the cask, but like embellishes it and adds some like fantastical details about some people that like secreted out of a siege or something. Just flavor it up a bit.
Absolutely, yeah. You sex it up a bit for the tabloids. But it is as you are enjoying or handling or telling the virtues of your beverages that a messenger walks into the bar. Some pimple-faced student from the college, some young half-elf girl walks in and says, "Hey guys, I have a message for the protagonists. Hi.
Hello.
So this is she like looks around the room and there's like no one else in here. The rush has not started yet, but she eyes the bartender out of the side of her eye and then gets closer to your table and kind of like leans over and says, "This is supposed to be kind of like on the hush hush. But you're wanted at the Diviner's Tower for like a super important meeting, I think. So, yeah. Is the snake guy here, or...?"
I haven't seen him in a few...
Actually, now that you mention it, it is quite concerning that none of y'all have seen Zurabak lately?
Yeah, y'all haven't seen Zurabak for days.
Honestly, it's been kind of nice. I wasn't all that worried. Maybe
Yeah.
I should have been.
You've seen Snake.
It has been pleasant.
Wait, Zurabak, is Snake still in town?
Snake's still in town.
Okay, well, yeah, Snake's coiled up next to you guys.
Is he? Okay. I assumed
Is
he'd
he?
be eating
I don't know.
stuff.
He's probably doing snake
I
things.
assume.
No, Snake's with the party because it's funnier. It's so much funnier that way.
He doesn't have any other friends.
He doesn't know any better. He just doesn't. He knows what they smell like, and like that's it. He's a fucking wild animal. He's like, I guess this is my.
He's at the pets
Pack?
table
I
with
don't know.
Rutherford and Book. and Celestial Cole is there now too.
There's absolutely a pets table, and yeah, they are all chilling at it. Snake and Rutherford and Book and Cole has his head in through a window, and just all lapping up things out of dishes. It's adorable. But yeah, this messenger says, "So yeah, if you guys just want to head to the Diviner's Tower, yeah, that's okay. Bye."
Okay. We shall leave one at a time so as to escape notice.
No, I'm
We're
gonna.
not gonna do that.
I'm just gonna ride Snake there.
You'll be slower than the rest of the party.
It's fine.
Yeah, but you won't have to walk.
I'll get there in style. Go Zurabak.
So do you three head to the Diviner's Tower, answering the summons?
I finished my tea.
I was gonna say
Sure.
I've got a delicious hot toddy here. My ex-wife's new wife could wait. Okay.
Knowing that they do not intend to go along with the plan to leave one at a time, and seeing that they are drinking their drinks slowly, Hector slams his and leaves quickly so that he can
God damn it.
stagger our leave
Pretend he's the
times.
leader.
Yeah, you slam a mug of ancient moonshine, and your gut twists inside of you, but you are able to keep it down with your gatekeeper gullet and make your way out the door. And eventually, after finishing your hot toddies and your shot of whiskey, you two follow after and make your way to the Diviner's Tower, the tallest structure in the city of Everspring, this impossibly thin, tall tower jutting up at the very edge of town, with a broad courtyard in front of it and a large set of double doors built into the base that is flanked by two knights of the Order of the Quill who wave you all in As you enter, nodding at your protagonist badges that you all display, and saluting Ruger Firehide with his badge denoting him as a member of the Order of the Quill, their knightly order.
I am very uncomfortable with the saluting. Still trying to get that down.
Yeah, weird. It's weird. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's a little.
Yeah, they put a fist to their heart and say, "Ho, Scrivener!" As you pass.
I feel like 50% of the time Ruger sort of jumps. He's like, ah! It's like, no. I'm like on guard, you know?
For sure. So yeah, you all go in, and we will jump to Zurabak. Zurabak is on his world tour. You are currently within the stomping grounds of the Circle of the Serpent, the Druid Circle you are from. You are deep within the bowels of the large cave constructed out of the enormous skeletal frame of an ancient dead beast sunk halfway into the swamps where your circle lives, and you're speaking with Trapjaw. And Trapjaw has just informed you that based on everything you just told him, he has plans to move the circle. So we'll continue there. Trapjaw, this enormous monitor lizard, his tongue flicking in between his lizard lips, is reclined, sprawled, you might say, on a large skeletal hand erupting from the ground inside this central chamber. And he regards you with slitted eyes and says, "Zurabak, the Circle of the Serpent can no longer bide its time and hide here in the swamp. The time has come for us to make our presence known. We have to be a force working in the world to keep nature preserved. The stories you've told us about what befell the Springvale Forest are enough to drive us there, to see if we cannot harness our strength to purify what remains. After that, we shall have to see what fight we can take to the cult of the stricken. But first, Zurabak, we must raise this ancient beast, this masterful creature we have made our home in, must stride the land once more. This will take great magics, and you will assist us with this before you take your leave once more. Do you still serve, Zurabak?"
I mean, I'm gassed, but I'm hungry.
Trapjaw looks over your shoulder to Talon, head of security for the Circle of the Serpent, a human woman with long dark hair bedecked with the beaks and talons of various birds, which clatter as she shakes her head and says, Fine, I'll get it. And she leaves and momentarily returns with a wheelbarrow full of meat. Just a wheelbarrow full of meat.
This will do. Your tribute is accepted.
Zurabak, you watch your goddamn mouth. This isn't a Trapjaw, get him. Get him before I fucking... you know what? I'm going to let y'all talk this out. I'm going to go tribute my ass. This is what happens when you go outside. You get soft. You start worrying about status. I'm gone. She turns into a heron and flies away. Because no one storms off like druids do. As you start munching on all the meat in this wheelbarrow, Trapjaw says, "The ritual to begin the process of animating this ancient skeleton will need a few potent magical components. We will need to somehow harness an enormous concentration of necromantic energy. I am still searching for the proper means by which to do this, but we will need some vector full, brimming with necromantic power."
Zurabak continues to eat meat. Still listening, yep.
"Do you know of anything that might suit this purpose? Have you found anything in the world outside?"
Well, probably. Yeah, that actually sounds familiar.
Zurabak, you remember that the Death's Head orchids that you recovered on your quest into the Springvale Forest are plants that are unique in that they harbor a enormous amount of necromantic energy inside of them, which is the reason you needed them for the stricken spell.
Oh, wait. Oh, that. He throws his sack on the ground.
Yeah, you casually, as you're devouring this wheelbarrow full of food, throw your satchel on the ground, and out of it spills like an armload of Death's Head orchid bulbs that you just rampantly picked when you were in the forest. And Trapjaw actually is taken aback. You've never seen this stoic lizard stunned in your entire life. But this casually providing him with these ingredients, he looks down and says, Zurabak, these plants reek of death magic.
Oh, yeah. Tons of dead elves.
This is perfect for our needs. The only other thing we need is to bind it to us once it is awakened. We will need to infuse it with the essence of our circle. We will need venom, the ancient traditional symbol of our order. Some terrible toxic poison that will bind it to our will.
You trying to get my poison too? Zurabak narrows his eyes.
Trapjaw narrows his eyes back and says,
Do you have poison, Zurabak?
It's very minty.
That sounds powerful.
I was just drinking it casually, but I guess I also just kind of want to see the big thing move. It should be in the sack.
Your devotion to the circle, Zurabak, is not unnoticed. You have made a name for yourself out there in the world. From everything you've told us, and from the creatures you've left in your wake.
I have eaten many things.
There are beasts here that have been awaiting your return.
and Trapjaw flicks his tongue and says,
Bring them in.
and you don't know who he's talking to. You don't see who's outside the flap of vines that makes up the door to this room.
To be fair, Zurabak doesn't look nor care.
Right. But filing in underneath that flap of vines into the room comes first 5, then 10, then a horde of 50 tiny blue lizards running on 2 legs with arcs of electricity jumping between the twin antennas on their heads. A horde of shocker lizards pours into this room, and they all regard you quizzically for a moment, turning their heads back and forth like small birds, and then they all bow to you, their liege lord.
I knew you weren't dead.
It would seem your influence is more vast than I could have ever assumed. But we waste time here. Leave your vassals and come with me.
And Trapjaw slithers down off of this giant skeletal hand throne, snaps up your sack within his jaws, careful not to ingest any of the horrifically toxic things in there, and starts to slither his way out of the chamber and then out of the cave system that your circle has built inside the bones of this long-dead creature. He makes his way out before the great maw of this skeletal beast, its upper jaw hanging like a gate, its huge fangs making a sort of portcullis over the entrance to the yawning cavern, its eye sockets overflowing with these bioluminescent mushrooms that send glittering spores sprinkling down to the floor of the swamp. And already every other member of the Circle of the Serpent has formed a ring around this massive creature. It's more of a semicircle. It's big enough that there's not enough of you to completely surround it, but there's just a row of animals of every shape and size, hippos, crocodiles, snakes, lizards, herons, all manner of beasts, which are your druidic brethren who have all taken a knee and are making various animal noises. They are grunting and howling and squawking and shrieking, and seem like they are all concentrating on a powerful spell. And we're going to jump to the rest of you. Ruger, Rilla, and Hektor.
And the lawman Hektor Gatekeeper.
The lawman, Hektor the Gatekeeper. You all get to the Diviner's Tower. You go inside, there's a foyer, and the doors open on their own accord, as they always do when you enter this place. And it leads into an office, sumptuously furnished, full of comfortable furniture, and there is, of course, the wrought iron spiral staircase in the back that leads up to the viewing hall, the largest chamber in this entire tower, taking up almost the entire interior. And you head up and find what you always do, which is a huge open space, the walls of which are hung with countless mirrors of all shapes and sizes looking out on dozens and dozens of distant vistas. Tiny blue eyes flit back and forth between all of these different mirrors before floating down to the diviner, who is dressed in a smart, crisply cut blue coat, her eyes bound with a blue cloth. But the diviner is not alone. There are many other people here in this chamber, more than you've ever seen in here before, and they are all faces you recognize. Not only is the diviner in here, but you also see Captain Kurz standing proudly in shining silver armor. You see Lore Master Holland, her ancient skeletal frame wrapped in her silver robes, staring at you from her wide and sunken eyes out of her skeletal face. You see Pockets, the leader of the Turnkey Guild, who you met a long, long time ago when you first came to Everspring, a dwarf with crimson hair, their beard parted and braided into the hair on their head, wearing tight leather armor covered with pockets of every shape and size. You also see someone that you did not expect to be up on their feet so soon. You see Colt, the runner, the centaur, who you unfortunately led to a horrific fate in the Springvale Forest. You haven't really seen Colt since you got back to town. You sort of dropped him off at the medical institute and sort of, let the experts take care of him and his terrible wounds. And to your surprise, he's no longer missing a leg. Well, he is missing a horse leg. It has been replaced with a beautifully rendered contraption made of what seems like silver and brass, cogs and gears turning. There's some pulleys and wires seemingly inside. He has a beautifully crafted and perfectly sized robotic leg that fits perfectly over the stump of the one he lost in the Springvale Forest, and he walks around comfortably and confidently on it. So this array of characters stands in this room, all looking as if they've been waiting for you.
Where's Hektor?
What's up?
I said, where's Hektor? He left before us, right?
Yeah.
Is he just in here already?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just like chill. Like, what took you guys so long?
I've been waiting.
Yeah. So the diviner says, well, now that you all are here, we can truly begin. As we were starting to inform our intrepid gatekeeper, things have gotten rather dire, not only out there in the island, but also here in the city of Everspring. There is, unfortunately, bad news to report. I have been doing everything I can with my divination magic to keep tabs on things and try as hard as I might to pin down the movements of our enemies.
This has been difficult, but I have found a few things, not the least of which was that there may be spies here in the city proper. I don't have to tell you, Ruger, that the chance for outside instigators to invoke evil plots is not something that we are at all immune from. My wedding was proof enough of that, but I have located a few people who we have confirmed are in the employ of the enemy. We cannot know how many such agents may have infiltrated the city proper, and due to the delicate nature of the work that you protagonists are doing, and what is at stake, the safety, the health of the entire world, we have decided that from this point on, any work you do, any things you uncover, should be kept to a much smaller circle. I myself, along with these others here, are forming, well, a conspiracy, I suppose you could call it. A conspiracy to save the world. We want to make sure that any plans you come up with, that any efforts to fix the world are not undermined by loose lips or infiltrators that might get their hands on sensitive information. Myself, Lordmaster Holland, Kurz, Pockets, and Colt each have skills that can be utilized best by you all to assist moving forward in bringing the world to right and trying to counter the maneuvers of our enemies. Kurz steps forward and says, "Yes, it's high time that we all started getting off our laurels. The past 1,000 years, we've gotten rather comfortable with the way things have been, collecting scraps of history where we can and hoping one day far off in the future we might be able to fix things. But now, when we're on the cusp, it's time to step things into overdrive. Ruger, you yourself were quick to point out that there are many security threats at the vault that we hadn't even considered. We've grown far too stagnant, and you all have pointed out some weaknesses in the way we do things already. This conspiracy is set here to make sure that we all stay on the same page and that the resources we have available to us are in your reach." Pockets steps forward and says, "Aye, there's many moving parts to what we've got going. Moving forward. First off, an update on the cipher golem you brought us. It's nearly complete. It's been slow going, that's for sure. But since you brought that treasured artifact to us, we've been able to track down some old schematics for golems of the old world. We can't read them, but the pictures are surprisingly detailed. And through trial and error, we've been able to reconstruct some parts of it. The outer frame is finished, and we're closing in on some of the finer gearwork. We were able to bring up a few of our old members from Picker's Run to help us. Tess is now in Everspring. I suppose you'll remember Tess, Firehide."
Yeah, I'm wondering if she had anything to do with Colt's leg over there.
Colt laughs and says, "Well, Ruger, I'll tell you what, that's good instincts on your part. It wasn't Tess so much as her son, Roy. Apparently he's got quite a mind for prosthetics, and I swear it's almost as good as a regular leg. I could not be happier or more thankful, I tell you." And he stamps his fucking brass and silver hoof on the ground. And that's kind of where I come in. What I experienced there in the Springvale Forest, unfortunately, the diviner has made clear to me, is not a rare occurrence. For ages untold, everyone knows it's bad luck to hurt a runner. We are nonviolent, and our capacity as messengers makes us too goddamn important for any two-bit bandit to knock us over, especially if they want to tell someone in the next town what's what. Everyone knows
not to fuck with us and we won't fuck with them. But that's no longer the case. It's not just them poor, deluded elves that didn't know no better in the forest that we got to worry about. There's raiders in the freeholds. There's knights of the pyre. There are cultists of this new Lord Deceiver that are trying to take out runners all over the island. Now, I've put out a call to runners in general that they need to keep their guard up, and I'm going to keep a select handful well on hand and well armed to make sure that if there's anything we need to disseminate out to the world at large, it gets there quick and proper, and they fuck up anything that comes through. So,
Sorry, I want to sense motive this, because if anyone is suspicious to me, it's the man who was so angry at us for losing him a limb. And I am suspicious.
Yeah, roll a sense motive.
Cool. I got a 14.
He is not looking you in the eye, Rilla, and if I'm being honest, he's kind of made an effort to turn his side to you to speak to your companions. He does not seem to really dig on your presence, but you can tell that he's trying to be as tactful as he possibly can, considering, and he is very relieved to be back on four legs. So he's definitely pissed, but he's trying to be tactful as possible. It seems like he knows there's work that needs to be done, but he doesn't like you that much.
Rilla just kind of glares at him.
Let's see. Holland steps up and says, now, I have had suspicions for quite some time that the forces arrayed against us could send infiltrators to not only sabotage your works, but destabilize the city in general. The Lord Deceiver and their cult are experts in severing communication, in waylaying supply lines. Their aim is to separate us out into disparate fighting camps so that we can't trust each other, we can't communicate with each other. And in a city like Everspring, especially with the new elven population that has been welcomed here, we cannot afford any demagogues to rise and rile up the masses and find wedges to pull us apart. Now, as the diviner said, we have found 2 such agents. They have been discovered, they have been jailed, and they are currently under the observation of the diviner herself. And Holland points to one of the mirrors, and you see that one of these mirrors is looking into a jail cell with 2 humans that look a little roughed up, that are like lounging on straw mats in a jail cell down in Grotmire.
Do they look familiar at all?
They don't. They do not look familiar at all. They were not forthcoming with who sent them, but some creative applications of a few key spells, and we were able to get a little information out of them. The rate of expansion of the Badlands is tied directly to an increase in the number of void spikes dotting the landscape. The diviner says, that unfortunately is correct, and she hovers up a bit, flying in midair up to a pretty large mirror that's still well within eyeline for you all, and waves her hand, and you see an aerial shot of some of the cracked and broken landscape of the Badlands, giant twisted spires of crystal standing out under a eerie neon green sky, and there's like 3 obsidian spires of rippling dark energy just out on the horizon. It would appear that our enemies have their stronghold deep in the heart of the Badlands. I believe I told you this before. I have been attempting to locate precisely where this stronghold is, and see if I can't uncover the specific location of the Lord Deceiver themselves. It would seem that my magics are being countered by some powerful wizardry,
And if my spells are being countered, then it must be powerful indeed. We must assume that whoever the Lord Deceiver is, they have access to some lost lore that none of us could possibly lay claim to. They may even have the ability to read themselves. If, as the stricken informed us, they have the strand, that piece of narrativa, they could wield untold powers. I have been making slow progress, and I believe that they are centered in the old ruined human city of Skyer. But it is vast. Miles and miles of ruined buildings, chaotic magics. Honing in on their location has been tough, but progress is being made. What we wanted to make clear is that this group will be personally communicating all of our progress with you, protagonists, as you move forward, and we will be doing everything we can to shore up our city's defenses, to reconstruct the cipher golem, to decode the grimoire you brought us, and to make sure that we can properly identify the location of our enemies. And in the meantime, provide some much-needed informational support. And the diviner hovers down and walks up to each of you and says, if you will kindly present to me your protagonist badge.
Oh, I breathe a sigh of relief. So I just got a new one.
If you present them, she touches all of them in turn, and they each shine for a moment with a bright silver light. And she says, there, that's done. I will now be able to communicate with you while you are in the field. Here from the safety of my tower, I will not only be able to keep an eye upon you, but provide you with any relevant information you may need. If you need to check in with us here at the city, you have all of our knowledge at your disposal.
So how did you vet one another to decide that you were safe? Not spies.
Kurz walks up and says, well, as Ruger Firehide could tell you, as a paladin, I have the ability to detect evil in the hearts and minds of mortals.
Well,
Yeah, but I mean,
yeah, Kurz.
that doesn't mean that's not.
That's-
I mean, Zurabak's evil as fuck.
Right. Yeah,
Well, that is a good point, young lady. We also have all sworn to our honesty under the auspices of a Zone of Truth spell. Proper vetting has been done. We have all of us known each other for quite some time. We have all of us in our own way worked tirelessly to see to the success of this city, the safety of its people, and done what small bits we can to prepare the world for the return of the ability to read and write. I promise you that everyone in this room can be trusted, as we trust you all.
all right.
Rilla just continues to watch Colt. Like she hasn't taken her eyes off him.
As you glare at Colt, one more person walks up the spiral staircase behind you. You see a shock of white hair, followed by a beak of a nose, over which hover two coal-black eyes. And Anthony Geist, the Stricken, walks in. He is wearing a sharp black suit with a black shirt and black shoes. He looks like a small slip of night walking in.
I light up a cigarette.
I mean, it makes sense.
As you all roil with this revelation, we switch back to Zurabak. Zurabak, you are in the Briar Marsh. Your druid circle has taken their positions in a semicircle around this giant skeletal cave system in which you've made your home. And Trapjaw says,
Zurabak, you will be the focal point for this spell. You will need to open yourself up to the Druid Circle, accept our power, and channel it into this creature. Place this venom and this Death's Head Orchid in your mouth that you can properly imbibe the magical energies we need to channel.
Oh, you just wanted me to eat it? I was gonna do that anyway.
You pop them in your gullet.
Yeah.
Sweet. You place the Death's Head Orchid and some of this wyvern blood poison into your mouth. And as you do, the raucous cries of a dozen different types of animal radiate out into the swamp, drowning out the buzz of the mosquitoes and shaking the leaves of some of the mangrove trees growing around you. And every single one of these druids starts to glow with a warm green energy that radiates out of every single one of them. The roots and vines and razor-sharp grasses underneath the feet of all of these creatures seems to grow perceptively. Small flowers bloom underneath them as they channel the ancient power of the green of the wild places, and these green auras surrounding all of these animals start to rise up and coalesce into this beautiful green fog that converges and falls upon you. You are completely engulfed in a maelstrom of potent divine magic, and when the last bit of this green energy from Trapjaw specifically reaches a tendril out to join these to join this whirling green magical glow around you, you are rocked. Roll me a fortitude saving throw as you swell with this immense magical power.
Hold on. Where did I put my sheet? There it is. Is it poison?
No.
Is it fey?
It is fey. Yeah, it's fey as fuck. Yeah, the one time, yes. Congratulations, we're using your bonus against fey magic for being a druid. Yes.
That's a +4.
Hell yeah.
Well, I rolled a 10, so that comes out to a 25.
Absolutely excellent. You are able to shoulder the immense weight of all of these magical energies flowing into you, and you feel more power than you've ever felt in your entire life. The entire druid circle is pouring their magical essence into you, and the venom and the Death's Head Orchid in your mouth crumble and soak into your taste buds. They soak down your throat and your esophagus into your stomach, and your stomach heaves and roils like it never has before. It's delicious, but it is a little uncomfortable. And you start to channel this magic into this giant skeleton. What does this look like? I'll give you some ownership of this. How do you channel the nature magic into this giant skeleton?
He bites it.
You rush forward on all fours, imbued with this terrible power, and you go up to this giant skeleton and find one of its bones sticking up out of the spongy soil of the swamp, and you sink your teeth into it. And so full of this nature magic are you that your teeth actually sink into this pearly white bone. And as you clamp your jaws down, this green glow flows from your fangs into this enormous skeleton. It races along every exposed bone, forming the canopy of this cave structure. It flows out into its massive skull, which hovers over the entrance, and every blade of grass, every vine, every root, every bit of plant matter that is blanketing and twisted up inside of this thing starts to heave and twist and shake. They start to vibrate and move spastically, and the skeleton shudders in response to all this plant life moving. And then with one massive heave, the enormous skull snaps shut with a thunderous boom, throwing up bits of soil as this impossibly large skeleton rips itself free from its position half buried in the soil of the Briar Marsh and rips free 4 giant legs ending in large talons, a huge tail nearly as long as the body, lashing out like a huge whip, knocking over trees behind it, and it shudders a huge spinal crest running down along it like lances sticking out of each vertebrae, and it takes a shuddering step forward and then another and shakes itself like a dog, all animated by the dense thicket of foliage running all throughout it that looks to you now a lot like muscle tissue. And for the first time in countless generations, the great skeletal beast that is the home for the Circle of the Serpent rises and takes a step into the Briar Marsh. You are completely drained after this. This huge, massive beast towering some 50 feet over your head casts a shadow as all of this magical energy leaves your body in a rush, and you are completely exhausted, and all of the animals around you send out raucous cries, trumpeting, howling, squawking, barking, hissing, in jubilation at the work that's been completed. And Trapjaw slithers up to you and says, "You have done excellent work, Zurabak. This would have been far more difficult without your help. Now that our home can once again stride the land as it did in countless ages past, we can move into the wider world and leave our mark upon it. It will need a name."
Zurabak Jr.
"Try again."
But that was the best one. Fine. Suppose we can't just name it Big Skeleton.
Big Skeleton is perfect.
I'm okay with this. But I'm still gonna call it Zurabak Jr.
I would expect nothing less. Now, Zurabak, I relieve you. You are free to walk the world. But know that, as always, you are the fangs of the Circle of the Serpent. Tell the world that we move north and that we will bring the wild with us.
I mean, I'm gonna take a nap first.
So be it.
And as you settle down to take a nap, Trapjaw calls out to the rest of the Circle of the Serpent, who all flap, climb, and burrow their way into the open maw of this enormous skeletal beast, Big Skeleton. It lowers its jaw back down to the floor of the swamp, and every one of them files inside of it. And then, animated by these massive ropes and coils of vines, roots, and plant life, it stalks slowly but ploddingly northward.
Oh, wait. You probably should go around the Badlands.
Understood.
Cool. And then you pass the fuck out. We're going to switch real quick back to Hector, Rilla, and the lawman Ruger Firehide. You are in the tower of the diviner with the conspiracy. Anthony Geist, the stricken, has just walked in. He looks unbearably smug, but he looks at everyone and says, "Well, I must say I am happy for the invitation. It is good to see so many concerned citizens organized to finish this great work. The next piece of the spell has revealed itself to me. I know where we must go next. We need the skull of a giant."
A specific giants?
Any giant will do, but it must be a completely intact skull. It will have to be meticulously prepared for the casting of the spell, but it will serve as a cauldron of sorts to mix the rest of the components.
Disgusting.
Do I know of any giant skulls that were like preserved anywhere, for example, in my home?
Brian, I'm so glad you asked. Hector the Gatekeeper, you know that the Gatekeeper clan in the mountains makes their home in a place called Giant's Rest.
Indeed, I do know this, yes.
The Gatekeeper barbarians famously gained their home there by clearing out the orcs, goblins, and grimlocks that had swarmed all over these ruins built by the hands of giants and claiming them for their own. There is, located underneath Giant's Rest, an ancient tomb where the remains of the giants that built your home are laid to rest. It is never, ever, ever disturbed by your people, because I would assume that your people have nothing but the utmost respect for the giants. It's mostly a source of like ghost stories, but there's like an honor guard put there so no one ever fucking goes in. But yeah, you know where a giant tomb is.
Well, I know a spot that we could find possibly a giant skull, but going to the place I'm thinking of would be ridiculous. We would certainly all have curses, probably just in our bloodlines forever. So does anybody else, like brainstorming here, does anybody else know a good giant spot for giants?
Loremaster Holland says, "The giants were a race that lived on this island long, long ago. Their kind were all extinct even before the glyph purge fell. No one alive now has ever seen a giant. No one alive now has a parent, a grandparent that has ever seen a giant. Their resting places are a well-guarded secret. Hector, where would we find such a thing?"
Well, it wouldn't be much of a secret.
The stricken says, "Come now, Hector. This is the fate of the world we're talking about."
Oh my god, I can't with this dude. I just can't, man. It's your fucking fault, and now you're trying to be high and mighty. And Rilla just kind of like walks away. I gotta breathe, and she just kind of like leaves the room for a minute. Like, this dude's smugness is getting to me. As Rilla,
Do you go down the spiral staircase, like down to the study below?
Yeah, I just bounce for a little bit.
Do I know of any stories of any other resting places for giants other than the tomb beneath Giant's Rest?
This is incredibly ancient lore. If you know anything, you'd have to roll insanely high. Try it out.
I rolled a 2 on the dice.
You got nothing, bud.
This is 3.5. His modifier could be 18.
It's 12.
I mean, that's absurd.
But yeah, 14's not insanely high. There's a tomb, an ancient tomb beneath Giant's Rest, sacred to our people. I guess we could go grave rob it, and that will be fine.
Kurz walks up and puts like a consoling hand on your shoulder and says, "Now, Hector, I know the burden that honor and tradition can place upon a man and upon a people. I'm sure that you all will treat these bodies with the utmost respect in this rather unfortunate circumstance. And given the alternative, imagine how much more terrible it would be if all of reality unraveled, including that tomb."
I mean, I said we could go. I'm just not gonna be super excited for this one, guys.
Anthony, from behind you, says, "Well, that is rather fortunate. I did not think it would be so easy to find what we were looking for, but I'm glad that we have a solid lead. Tell me, Hector, have you spoken to your father since you left home? I remember he was very nonplussed when you decided to leave."
I'm not going to have this conversation with you, not Sebastian.
He puts his hands up like, "All right, okay," and backs off a little bit.
I ash my cigarette. I'm just watching the drama unfold. Like Rilla stormed out. Hector and Daddy Devil are having a tiff, and I'm just puffing along.
Yeah, it's getting pretty hot in here. It's getting a little hot. Lore Master Holland says, "Well, it would seem that your next goal has been outlined, and its location is known to us. There is a portal in the Standing Stones that will take you swiftly to the gate, though I cannot say what condition the other side of that portal will be in. But of course, there will be no greater guide than the one standing before us. Before you leave, know this. The people standing in this room, myself, Pockets, Kurz, Colt, and the Diviner, we have your back. We are available should you need anything. We are now able to stay in contact with you if you run into any problems or have any questions. We are placing quite a lot of hopes on your shoulders, but you have all shown that you are strong enough to bear them thus far. I hope that you can continue to bear them in the days to come. We will continue to work on the Cipher Golem. As Pocket said, much progress has been made, and it should be finished sometime soon. Once it is done, we can use it to decode the grimoire, and we will have the framework for the spell you will need to cast to fix reality. And in the meantime, Kurz will make sure that the city's defenses are shored up, especially those around the vault. And Colt will keep our communication lines open so that any messages we need to send to any part of the Isles are sent expressly as we need. Do you have any questions? Is there anything you need from us?
Will you be coming with us? Directed at Anthony.
Oh, I wouldn't miss it for the world.
You hear Rilla's communication thing beep on, and all she says is that smug bastard still talking?"
We read you loud and clear, Rilla. Yes, he is still talking, says the Diviner. Holland says, "Well, you are, of course, free to leave whenever you wish, but one last thing.
the elves wanted to make sure that some reward was bestowed upon you all for your work saving them from the Springvale Forest. I believe that Rilla has received an ancient artifact of the elves, and they were able to scrounge up a few more items from their burial mounds before they crossed over to Everspring. And she pulls out 2 items. We have had these identified, and they should each prove useful in their own way. Mr. Firehide, for you, there is this. And she hands forward a rod.
I think how Hector was concerned about, like, desecrating corpses, but my relatives apparently just dug right into the ancient elfin graves. I'm like, yeah, we're going to take this shit, because we can.
I mean, yeah.
Very different life choices.
Yeah, very different cultural attitudes towards the dead.
Yeah.
I mean, to be quite honest, the dead saw the elves saw their dead, like, erupt from the ground. This could have been taken from some of those corpses. Like,
yeah, that's true.
So, Ruger, you are presented with a rod. This is a 2-foot-long span of what looks like black iron. There is a green gem on one end of it. And Lore Master Holland says, this is a rod of enemy detection. As a ranger and a paladin, I know that you are particularly well suited to ferret out evils and track them wherever they may hide. This will provide additional assistance in that regard. This device will pulse in your hand and point in the direction of any creature or creatures hostile to you, its bearer. They could be invisible, hidden, disguised, or in plain sight. So yeah, this item, if there's people around you within 60 feet of you that are hostile to you, this rod will pulse and point in the direction of those creatures, whether they're invisible, ethereal, hidden, disguised, or in plain sight.
Just all the time?
It can be used 3 times a day, each use lasting up to 10 minutes.
Dope.
Okay, yeah.
Dope.
So yeah, 3 times a day, 10 minutes each time. You can just be like, all right, let me turn this thing on, and it'll pulse and point at anyone that wishes you harm. If they're invisible, ethereal, disguised, hiding, whatever, as long as they're within 60 feet of you.
Fantastic.
So yeah, Helen says, may this serve you well in your journeys to come. And for you, Hector the Gatekeeper, she pulls out a small bit of polished purple stone. It's ovoid. It is polished to a mirror sheen. And she says, this, Hector, is for you. This is called a luck stone. And whoever wields it, whoever has it on their person, will gain the benefit of good luck. Keep it on you at all times, and you should find more favorable outcomes in almost anything you do. This is a luck stone, Hector. Its possessor gains a +1 luck bonus, which will stack with pretty much any other bonuses you have, to saving throws, ability checks, and skill checks. So you get +1 to all saves, all ability checks, and all skill checks. Just forever. Just blanket, permanent, as long as you're holding this thing.
Okay.
If there is nothing else, protagonists, we will adjourn and see to our duties and do what we can to make sure that we are shoring things up on the home front while you are in the field. Remember, once more, we are always listening, and we can provide any information you need.
Why is she so creepy? Why is she so creepy? All the time. No matter what. She's old.
Because she's evil.
Yeah, Rilla is deeply suspicious of this woman already. It's like, I'm listening to you all the time.
Rilla is already casting shade at like half the conspiracy. She's like, not him, not her, definitely not him.
Rilla's been killed already, okay? She's pretty suspicious right now. Like,
And in a fairly weakened state.
Miss Longshadow, I can appreciate your trepidation, but this is an open line. Let me just go
the
ahead and
open
cut
line
out.
should have some closing to it. Like, I don't
Let me
need you
just
to hear
let
me in the bathroom,
let me just
woman.
go ahead and turn mine off, and I'll just go
Oh,
do
so they
something
can
else.
be turned off. How wonderful. Great. Teach me that.
Pleasure working with you. I'll see you at your next lecture. See, I wonder if this will affect your sister's grades. I'm sure it won't.
If it does, it might affect the survival of the world. I'm sure it won't. And then Rilla hangs up.
Yeah. Cut 2. Zurabak, you wake up after arrest. There is nothing left in the homeland of your druid circle except for an enormous hole in the ground, some 100 feet long and 40 feet wide, just a big trench quickly filling with the brackish black water that dominates the Briar Marsh. You are surrounded by the thorns, the singing insects, and the rotting stench of your homeland. You wake up feeling like $1,000,000. The reek and burning taste of wyvern blood and death's head orchid on your tongue. What do you do next?
Pick up my sack.
It is back in your possession.
I'm gonna miss Zurabak Jr. Well, Zurabak, gonna head back to Bramble real quick.
Are you utilizing your tree stride spell?
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, you channel the power of the wilds, now seemingly more connected to your homeland than you've ever been before. That window into the shared power of your druid circle really binding you even more fully to the wild places, and you skip from tree to tree effortlessly on your way back to Bramble. It takes you 30 minutes.
Zurabak finds the one dude. Mayor
Pike.
Mayor not Zurabak.
Mayor Pike, the mayor and the owner of the only inn in town, the Broken Snare. So you are presented with the ramshackle remnants of a once prosperous trade town set up on wooden planks supported by pylons over the waters of the swamp. It's made up of bone white wood and full of rough-looking customers. Mayor Pike is behind the bar at his post. It's open air, just sort of a bar underneath a cloth canvas awning with a bunch of chairs spread out in an open courtyard. He says, "Zurabak, back so soon."
Yeah. I had a child, and the druids are on vacation.
Okay. Mazel, I guess. Good stuff.
I figured no one told you that they were gonna leave.
Oh, they're gone? All of them?
Oh yeah, probably. I mean, I'm sure someone got left behind.
Well, that's good to know. We've gotten a few scraps of what's going on up north from the gatekeepers in the mountains. Seems like things are getting pretty dire out there.
Zurabak shrugs.
Maybe we should think about moving as well. Without the druid circle here, we're kind of the last settlement before you get to the sea. Well, I appreciate the information, Zurabak. Is there anything else my humble town can do for a terrifying menace such as yourself?
I assume there's people eating, so he just grabs someone's food and just shoves it in his mouth and backs away out the door.
They start to bitch, and then they're like, "Oh, you're good, Zurabak. Good to see you."
Fuck, that was Zurabak. Oh, God.
Sweet. So yeah, you deliver your message and you back out. You are back in the city of Bramble. What do you do next?
He walks back in and takes things that would be good snacks for goats, and then walks back out.
Yeah, you take some crumbly old biscuits and a few half loaves of bread and a tin can, and you get out of there.
And then we head to the mountains. I guess the gates.
So you're using your transport via plant spell to
Well,
instantly.
how far is it?
Huh?
How far away is distance-wise?
Christ, I don't know, 50 miles?
All right, airwalk.
And you cast Airwalk. Let our listeners know what the Airwalk spell does.
The subject can tread on air as if walking on solid ground. Moving upward is similar to walking up a hill. Maximum upward and downward angle, 45 degrees. If there's more than 21 miles per hour winds, I get moved. I move fast in the air. Not flying, but I walk fast in the air.
You move very fast. Gotcha. Yeah, you utilize your druid powers, and yeah, just right from the center of town, you start taking a few steps along the court, this broad like courtyard, and then you just take a step up, and then another one, and then another one after that, just walking up thin air like a stairwell, and eventually you get so high that everyone teems like ants below you, and you slip into a jet stream, and you fucking rocket. You seem to just amble, but you are racing through the air over the fetid swamps of the Briar Marsh, teeming with huge thorns, and the land rolls away beneath you as you start to get to the foothills and then the soaring peaks of the nearly impassable mountain range known as the Gate. Where are you headed specifically?
Probably the townish.
Giant's Rest, where the
Yeah.
gatekeepers dwell?
Is there a distance on share spells out of curiosity? Yeah.
Yes.
Must be within 5 feet.
Yeah. So yeah, you soar to the mountain
Snake
range.
just starts flying.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately not. So yeah, you soar through the air toward the mountain range, and yeah, this is a path you have walked once before. You see the road snaking through the Briar Marsh and up to the mountain range beneath you, and you soar through the air, walking on clouds, up to the mountain range proper, to its soaring heights. You find the pass carved through it by the hands of giants long ago, and you get to the twin citadels of Giant's Rest on either side of the enormous doors of the gate proper, blocking off this mountain pass from north to south. And yeah, you see enormous blocks of gray stone piled into formidable fortresses flanking this road carved through the mountain pass that seems sized for giants. And you see far below you the Gatekeeper clan, clad in furs of goats and wolves, leather armor, and a variety of weapons from the lowlands, some escorting traders, some sparring in open places, some feasting and drinking, teeming below you. What do you do?
He lands.
You drop down in the middle of a group of gatekeepers who are drinking at a long wooden table. The winds up here are vicious, and you do get knocked around a little bit, and your landing is not as smooth as you would have liked, but you do skid to a stop just as all these gatekeepers are chugging their Highlander grog. They slam their mugs down as you touch down at the table next to them. And you hear a familiar speech impediment as one of these gatekeepers screams out, "Holy shit! Zurabak? Is that you? Did you just come from the fucking sky?"
Yes, I did.
You see Hector's younger brother, Cedric, sitting at this table with his gatekeeper brethren, and he regards you, as his friends do, with complete shock. Wow, Zurabak, that's impressive. I didn't know you could do that. You just walked on the clouds?
Yep.
Oh, you're a druid, right? You turn you a bird or something, right?
No, Zurabak's stronger than Bird.
Sure, okay. Yeah. Sure. That's fine. Well, what's going on?
I've come for the goats. And you. He points menacingly because I don't think he knows how to not point menacingly.
Sure. You point a finger at Cedric and he goes, cool, man. Well, I'm here. I got some work I got to do later, but we can like hang out for a little bit if you want. I mean, you throw some axes or like you want to drink?
I have a job for you and probably drink, yes.
He slides you a mug of Highlander grog. It is a gatekeeper mug, so it is a small barrel with a handle bolted to it.
Zurabak drinks.
As you do, you see one of the gatekeeper clan leading a column of goats. The gatekeeper has like a shepherd's crook and is leading the goats ploddingly across this scene around you. And the second that the goats come within like 40 feet of you, one of them stops. Their thick, dense fur protecting them from the slashingly cold winds here on the high mountains. Their razor-sharp horns proudly pointing to the heavens. And they stop and sniff the air and turn towards you. And all 5 of these goats in this column, being led by this gatekeeper, all bounce over to you. And they all regard you. They don't bow, but they all regard you and give you the slightest nod of their heads.
I have brought gifts for you. Gives one a tin can, one some biscuit, one some berries he found somewhere, he's not sure where.
The shepherd that was leading them says, wow, this guy really knows his goats. I've never seen anything like that before. That's crazy.
I am their champion.
And they eagerly feast upon the goodies you have brought them. And Cedric says, all right, so you have a job for me? Is this like you don't need me to take you through the pass, right? Like you can fucking fly.
No, I require your voice and etiquette.
You require my voice? I have to tell you, Zurabak, I think that's literally the first time anyone's ever said that to me. So I'm I'm interested. What do you need my etiquette for?
I need a herald.
Whoa. Okay. Listen, bud. I am a gatekeeper, okay? I am a steward of the innocent civilians that make their way through this impassable landscape, okay? I fight grimlocks and orcs and goblins. I dig people out of landslides. I've traveled the high pass, all right? I'm not just gonna go walk around and be some guy's hype man, you know?
Zurabak hands him 300 gold.
Well, now that's a horse of a different color. Oh, that's a lot of money.
The first of many sacks. They just throw them at me.
Okay.
Normally, your brother picks them up.
Yeah, does Hektor know about this? Is this like some sort of gag or goof, or what's the deal?
No. Probably not. I'm unsure.
Okay, so what does this job entail, Zurabak?
I have many titles, and they need to be said to people when we meet them.
Okay, so I just, introduce you to people? Is that the whole job?
Yeah, and, eat a lot of food.
That sounds good.
Look cool doing things.
I mean, that sounds good, too. I mean, okay, well,
there'll be some traveling.
Okay, so I do have to, follow you around?
I mean, if you want. That'd be fine.
Well, how am I going to be your herald if I don't follow you around?
Oh, fair point. Yeah, follow me around. Then you can see your brother, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that'd be all right. I haven't seen Hektor in a while. So do I have to, I don't have to, clean up after you or anything, do I? Because that sounds like a lot of work.
No, that's for the lesser beings.
So you're gonna pay me 300 gold pieces to go with you on your adventures and just, say all your titles to people?
Yes.
I mean, that sounds like the easiest work I've ever done. Am I gonna have to go into, forgotten tombs and, cursed, valleys and, stare down the face of death?
Probably not. Unless that death's in a village, and the villagers need to know my name.
Well, I mean, that sounds like a sweet gig. I don't see a downside, really. I mean, shit.
Also, there is so much free food.
I'd like to eat, too. Man, you're really sweetening the pot here, Zurabak. One of the gatekeepers next to him says, yo, if you're not going to take that fucking job, I will. Are you kidding me? Walking these traders through the pass sucks. It's cold and you sleep on the fucking ground. Cedric's like, no, this is my fucking job. You can't take my contract. Shut up. Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, yeah. Yes. Yes, I'll do the job. I will take the case.
Excellent.
So, do we leave now, or can I get my stuff, or what's the deal?
I mean, you could probably get your stuff, say your goodbyes. I'm gonna drink this grog.
Yeah, that'll keep you busy for a while. Yeah, and in an hour, Cedric meets you back there at that table. He's got a backpack brimming with supplies for hiking, for mountain climbing, with provisions and stuff, and he is wearing his normal gatekeeper leathers, but he has a beautiful, large, voluminous cloak that is made of goat hide, and it has a hood that is like a goat's head with the horn sticking out from the top of it. This is my fanciest clothes. I don't know what else.
I approve.
Okay,
now,
sweet.
I've gained many titles since you last announced me. I am still king of the shocker lizards. They love me and totally not dead.
Okay, king of the shocker lizards. Gotcha. What else?
Champion of the goats.
Champion of the goats, for sure.
I'm losing track of them. Oh, right, the rats. I'm emperor of the rats.
Emperor of the rats, okay.
Oh, we'll pick them up later.
Sure.
They're all dead.
Okay.
But they're still statues. Don't lick them.
Sure. Yeah, I wasn't going to do that.
Duke Zurabak of the island of words. We'll go there later.
Oh shit, you're a duke? No wonder you got all this money.
Yeah. Also, Zurabak the Unburned, because I'm going to make her drink lava.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but sure, Zurabak the Unburned got it. Okay, so you are king of the shocker lizards, champion of the goats, emperor of the rats, duke of an island somewhere, and you're the Unburned, too.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, got it. Sure, no problem. Yeah, I'll say that to whoever the fuck you want for 300 gold pieces, sure.
Yeah, we're gonna probably pick up some more later. Who knows? It'll be fun.
Okay. Wait till Hektor gets a load of this. I'm a fucking herald of a duke. Duke's better than chief, right?
I have no frame of reference.
We'll just say it is. We'll just say it is. Herald you a duke. All right, you have for 300 gold pieces, you have hired Hector's younger brother to be your herald. Where do you go next?
One second, I'm marking off the 300. Now I am down to 2 gold pieces. And 7 silver.
Zurabak is the big bad of this campaign now.
Hector, we will get to that when you become aware of this.
Yes.
This situation. Can't wait.
Hey, other gatekeeper things.
Yeah.
beware the giant skeleton, Zurabak Jr. He will probably be walking over the mountains soonish.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I had a child.
Okay, is this like there's gonna be a little half-orc baby coming over the fucking mountain? What?
There's nothing little or half-orc about my child.
Okay, there's a giant skeleton coming over the... Is this like a war thing? What is Who the fuck is this
They're
guy?
just going on vacation, I think. I didn't really listen to them what they were saying, but they're mostly friendly.
Oh,
There's a bird that talks too much.
okay, man. You literally sound drunk, but I guess we'll let the scouts know to look for a skeleton baby. Whatever the fuck you said.
It's big.
Okay, great. Cool.
Zurabak just sort of stands there for a moment. Oh, right, leaving. I don't know. You want to go to Fire Mountain or Desert next?
Both those places sound pretty shitty, but as long as you're gonna get me there in one piece, I mean, that's dealer's choice.
All right, let me check my spell list. Yeah, cool. I forgot I planned ahead. We'll do Desert next, and we're going to the stupid town that caught on fire.
The city of Blackrock, which you
Yeah.
saved from, try to save from the flames. Well, you saved a lot of it.
Zurabak has two airwalks left.
Okay. Are you using airwalk to get you and Cedric there?
Yeah. All
Okie
right.
dokie.
Now you just walk on the air and beware the big winds.
Yeah, sure. I've been doing this my whole life. I'll just walk on fucking air. Sure. Yeah. That's. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's happening. Oh my. This is incredible. Oh my god. Look at me. Look at me. And he's like waving at the gatekeepers below him, and they're all like staring up, completely goggle-eyed at you all leaving. And the goats give you a final nod as you make your way into the horizon. And man, that's where we're gonna end. Hello and welcome to As the Dice Turns, the podcast after the podcast, where we take a deep dive into one of our player characters' motivations, characterizations, frustrations, and try to get a better understanding of them as a person. In this part of our show, we now ask one of our protagonists a question and see if we can't unearth some deeper truths about them. Today in studio, we have King of the Shaka Lizards, Champion of the Goats, Emperor of the Rats, Duke of the Isle of Neho, Zurabak the Unburned. Zurabak, welcome to the studio.
Yeah. One second. Harold, do the thing.
Zurabak, who are you talking to?
Oh, did he not come? Oh, I guess. Oh, no, he's over at the food crafts table. I see. That's okay.
Yeah, Zurabak, as you're well aware, the new format requires one person at a time is in the hot seat. Just one.
Oh, no, he's just supposed to say my name like you do, but better.
Great. Well, why don't we just leave that to me for now? And leave your little friend there at Craft Services well away from causing any chaos or mayhem. Zurabak, we're here to talk to you today because of, what I would say is a surprising change in your behavior lately. You have gone through this entire adventure so far, through lands of blasting sand, crushing waves, erupting volcanoes. You fought knights wielding fire swords and undead hordes in a blighted forest. You have not deigned to change your equipment at all during the course of this entire adventure. I think anyone listening along would remember that you started this adventure with a 10-foot long pole, which you have lost a bit of, and is now a 9-foot pole, which you still have with you. You still have your trusty spear and your gator hide armor.
And the sack. Don't
And the
forget
sack,
the
of course.
sack.
The sack, forgive me, and the sack. It seems that lately you've taken an interest in making some armor and getting a herald. What's behind this change in priorities? You've never seemed to care about aesthetics or, God forbid, courtly manner before.
Well, you see, my subjects need a strong leader.
Okay. And by your subjects, do you mean the myriad, very disparate populations of animals that have come under your sway during your adventures?
Yes,
Okay, so I need a strong leader.
and I must become that strong leader.
Okay. And so getting new armor and getting a herald that denotes strength to you?
Many of the awful civilized places have a leader with an outfit. Therefore, I must make my outfit strong.
That's an interesting observation, Zurabak. I suppose that's right. Yeah. The leader of the Ashen Isles, who bears a striking resemblance to you, but of course is not related, has that marvelous dress made of bone. The leader of the Pyre Knights Conflagration has a dress that seems to be made out of living flame. The elders of the Elven Forest wear those robes of green leaves sewn together. I suppose it is true that many leaders have impressive outfits. I guess I'm surprised that you're joining the fold.
Yep.
What has brought about this sudden emphasis in strength?
Well, I've learned from the pitiful, weak, pathetic elves that a weak leader makes a weak people.
Interesting. You're referring, of course, to Elder Willow, who was brainwashing the poor, battered elven people still trapped in the blighted Springvale Forest.
Yep. He did a bad job.
I think anyone would agree with you on that score. He certainly led his people on a horrific quest to nearly martyr a child, and if what we've learned about the history of the Springvale Forest is true, then he and his ilk have been doing that for quite some time. Yeah, I'd say that we're very bad leaders.
It has made their people incredibly cowardly on the lot.
Well, I won't pass assertions or,
There's
I
a
won't.
lot of fear in a lot of their hearts. And it's not fear of Zurabak, so it's wrong.
Okay. I suppose that's a understandable viewpoint from Zurabak. All right, so you are updating your dress to this armor you're making out of the white wood that Bramble is built on. You've gotten yourself a herald. It seems like you're checking in with your subjects. You've reconnected with the shocker lizards and with some of the goats.
Very glad they're not dead. I knew it.
Yeah, I think that was a pleasant surprise for all of us. You haven't seen them since the last time you were in the Briar Marsh, which was quite a long time ago. I believe that was in the lair of Gator when you were fighting the horrible dragon Kesk.
I should finish eating him.
Who knows? Maybe you'll get the opportunity. Can we expect any other shifts in your priorities in the upcoming days? Are you going to sit on your throne on the Isle of Niho that was given to you by Queen Letitia? Or are you going to start giving proclamations? Or
Of course. Also, my outfit isn't done.
oh, okay, so we still have some more outfit to collect. Well, you certainly seem to be making very good use of the teleportation magic that your druidic powers have made available to you. It is impressive watching you just flit about the countryside all willy-nilly, going wherever you wish. It's also horrific and terrifying.
As it should be.
Right. Well, I guess that's interesting. So you are concerned about being a better leader. I am a little worried that your sphere of influence is just a bunch of different groups of animals.
Oh, also, I'm celebrating the birth of my child, Zurabak Jr.
Of course. Quite a impressive feat that was. Seeing the Circle of the Serpent on the move is going to be an intimidating sight, and I'm sure that your child Zurabak Jr. will see them safely wherever they're going.
I bit him myself.
Quite. Well, all right, Zurabak. Well, that's definitely interesting. I did not realize that was your motivation for all this, but if you're dedicated to becoming a better leader, I suppose maybe that throne card that Inga Hilltopple drew for you is a bit more on point than even you realized.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Of course not. Well, that's going to do it for us here on As the Dice Turns, a podcast after the podcast. Sharon and I would like to thank you for listening to our little show. And, yeah, Sharon, keep that guy with the lisp out of here. No one else, Sharon. Yeah, keep him out. I don't care if he's a fucking herald. Get him back. Thank you. Until next time, keep those dice turning. Hey there, dear listener. Sam the DM here, checking in with the credits at the end of the show. Challenge Rating 0 was edited by the incomparable Audius Prime, a.k.a. Matt Sims. You can find more of his work at audiusprime.com. Music for Challenge Rating 0, including our amazing theme song, is provided by the harp wolf Danielle Williams. You can find more of her work at danielletaylorharp.bandcamp.com, including her album Why Are We Surprised When Seasons Change. Additional music for Challenge Rating 0 is provided by Justin Ra. You can find more of his work at justinra.com, including his album Age of the Spirit. If you want to find us on social media, we are on Facebook and Instagram at Challenge Rating 0. We're at Twitter at Challenge_0. And if you'd like to email us here at the show and send any questions for As the Dice Turn segment, you can send any emails to challengeratingzero@gmail.com. Any questions we receive will be read on air. If you'd like to support the show, we are on Patreon, patreon.com/CR_ZERO. We've got some bonus content on there for you folks if you are interested. And if you can't support us fungibly, we ask only that maybe you take some time to give us a review, recommend us to a friend, all that good stuff. Thank you so much for listening. We're still trying to make the best show we can for you folks. We're going to keep on keeping on. I hope you all take care of yourselves and each other out there. We'll see you next time.